Dang it.
Oh, crap. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
It's fine. Welcome to Aging with 8-Bit, the podcast where we talk growing up with games and how they've evolved over the years. And this is our Halloween special.
Halloween. I'm excited.
And if you couldn't tell, I am Zenitsu this year. And Colin, I don't think you need any introduction as to what you might be.
No, I don't think so. But if you don't know, I'm Vinkman. I think that's the patch I put on is Vinkman. Don't worry about the hair though. I'm just having a identity crisis, and I love it. So,
if the beard color matched the hair, I could see you having this hairdo in real life.
honestly, and you guys can't see, but I'll try to whip it around. I think I could rock a mullet.
It's a sweet wig, honestly, and you should just wear it for the rest of the year.
Sweet.
And so we have a few things on the agenda for our Halloween special, but more importantly, we finally have our first question from a real viewer.
I'm you guys, thank you, whoever that is, or who I'm going to obviously find out.
Yeah, so it comes from Ethan, and he says, is there a day of the week episodes are released?
Well, first, thank you, Ethan, and keep being a listener because we appreciate and spreading this, I say wonderful podcast, but what we try to put together. But anyways, we record on Sundays, and then we try to get our episodes out by Monday or I believe Tuesday. Because our schedules are super busy, we may be banking some episodes and then have a release schedule. But I will leave our editor to kind of
so usually we record on Sundays, and then I'll take the footage home and edit Sunday night and Monday. And we'll try to have it out Monday night, but if there's more editing than usual, say if we're doing a game or something, it'll probably be Wednesday. But I mean, we do both work full-time jobs.
Yes.
And your schedule's kind of hectic right now with coaching, and I'm actually supposed to be traveling right now, but it's a little sporadic at the moment, but usually we record on Sundays and expect a new episode on Wednesdays.
Yes, Wednesdays. I'll say that.
Yeah, so Wednesdays.
Sweet.
So, something to get you through the hump of the
day.
middle of the week.
Yeah.
All 21 of our viewers.
Hey, but we appreciate all of you, even if, and please get this out there and put comments on there because we appreciate them. And I don't know, I'm super excited and fired up by that comment. Ethan, even though it was just a question about how we run our podcasts. But thank you again.
Yeah, we'll take any question from anybody reasonably.
Yes, within reason.
Not what's your address, but
yeah.
Short of that, let's see what else we have going on. We're shooting on a new camera, the FX30. We're saying good riddance to the A6700, that overheating piece of crap that has caused me endless migraines.
Well, I even when
Please go away.
And you guys may see this. He just said some words and spoke another language. But just through the editing process and us recording the podcast, I've kind of understood the stresses that he goes through and what he worries about to make sure our podcast is recording good. And this new machinery is leaps and bounds better than what we had. And if you're fired up, I'm fired up because I know it's going to be good.
I'm super fired up. So any camera enthusiasts out there, we're shooting on the FX30 log profile, Cine IE or Cine EI, whichever one of those two abbreviations is correct. The exposure is probably all wrong because I've never used this log profile before.
Right.
We're on the Viltrox 13mm 2.8, I believe. So have it that. If you're into cameras, you can come crush me in the comments about how bad my exposure is.
I'm just going to sit here and do this because all of that was you're an expert. So that was all, you crushed whatever you just said. So cool.
Maybe. It's mainly YouTube videos and Reddit. Yeah. I don't actually know what I'm talking about, but it's fine. So I have a game plan for us to play.
Okay.
And we're going to call it's supposed to be rainbows and fairies, but it's actually kind of scary.
Oh, I like that.
We might have to work on that name, go back to drawing. It's a little long. But basically how this game works is I have 5 games here who are in the action adventure genre. not horror games, not scary at all.
Gotcha.
And so we're going to rank them based off of our memories from 1 to 10 of how scary these games can be.
All right.
And should they belong in the horror genre? Because some of these I feel like are actually kind of terrifying once you dig into the game a little bit.
Okay.
And I tried to pick 5 games that we have both played before.
Okay.
Or at least I think we both played them.
Yeah.
So the first one we're going to start with is The Legend of Zelda OOT, for the Nintendo 64. From your memories, I just want you to rank this off how scary this game would be.
To me, like Ocarina of Time. Oh, Ocarina of Time to me was like the tones. I don't know, man. I'm gonna say a 5, and I know that's kind of maybe weak, but I'm saying a 5 because the memories that I have of the game is because the concept was like dark in itself of the game. So it's like what Link was facing. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 in scariness.
Okay, you're giving it a 5. I'm giving it an 8.
Okay.
And I'm sure you're having a hard time remembering, but
Yeah.
I remember this clearly because this game terrified me as a child.
Okay.
I have a couple shots here. Do you remember these guys?
Yes, I do.
The Re-Dead.
Yes.
So after you go to Castletown, I think that's what it was called,
Yeah.
and you pull the sword, the Master Sword,
Yep.
from the temple, 7 years pass, and you go back out into the town. There's no more villagers. They're all dead or just gone, and it's only Re-Dead, these zombie-type, horrific-type monsters. They're like face slatchers. Do you remember these guys?
Yeah.
They would hop on your back if you got too close and would mess you up, son.
I forgot that. Like, you're right. I had no like recollection or recall of that, and that is that was terrible because I can remember leaving the town and like running, and one like literally somebody like jumping on my back, and I'm like, oh right, well this is the end for me.
Yeah, it's these guys, and they make like moaning sounds. The town is all destroyed, and there's fire in the sky. It's a dark scene for a kid, like a 6-year-old. I'm
gonna say hopefully here insert that sound so people that don't know what we're saying insert that, because you said it and it immediately took me back to it.
Yeah, and not only the Re-Dead guys, the zombie guys.
Yep.
Do you remember these guys?
I don't,
the skeleton.
No.
Weird, just humanoid looking things.
Yeah,
they would pop out of the ground at night. As soon as the sun went down, they would just crawl out of the ground and just chase you.
That animation that you just did where they like like side to side. Yes. I feel like I remember that, but I'm more like the Re-Dead. I really remember. Yeah,
the Re-Dead, these guys, and then tell me if you remember this one. Do you remember this guy?
Oh,
that is nightmare fuel.
That is horrible. I remember that one.
Yeah, so this one, if I'm trying to remember his name, I think his name is like Dead Hand or something. But you go into a well. Mm-hmm. It's when you need to get the lens.
Yes.
To see like the lens of truth. That's probably not what it's called.
Right. I know what you're saying.
To reveal secrets.
Yeah.
He's at the bottom of the well. He's like a mini boss.
Yep.
Because you need that lens to go into the Shadow Temple, and there's more guys like this in here. Horrific. Like, that should not be in this game.
Yeah,
ever.
I would agree with you. Now it's like, I'm going to stick to my guns just because I didn't remember it. But now that you're giving me this, it changes my view on the actual game. So, yeah.
So, you're giving it a 5. I give it an 8. We'll tally up the scores at the end.
Yeah, you're good.
So that was our first game. Our second game, Lavender Town, from the original Red and Blue Pokemon.
Okay. This is, go ahead.
Well, just the overall, do you remember the music in Lavender Town?
It was almost like a rushing sound, like, right? Like it was just
an eerie, I shouldn't be here. This is wrong.
Yeah,
it's creepy.
It was all the ghost type were inside the cave.
Yes,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And okay, do you remember the quest, the backstories of what you're doing in Lavender Town?
Like while you're like, this is how you find the ghost types is because it's like dead people.
Yeah, so not only is Lavender Town where trainers go to mourn their dead Pokemon, because apparently Pokemon die. I did not know that until
Lavender
playing
Town.
through Lavender Town. But
Yeah.
apparently Pokemon can die, and this is where all the trainers here are mourning their dead Pokemon. So any trainer you run into, it's it's like, oh, my Raticate just died 2 days ago, and I'm here to mourn. But the main reason why you're here, I had to look this up because I couldn't remember.
Right.
And I'm actually playing through on the emulator that we have. I just started Yellow.
Really?
So hopefully I get here soon. But the whole story of the town centers on Team Rocket trying to steal these skulls of Cubones to sell them for a lot of money. One of the Cubones is protected by the ghost of its dead mother. Player has to venture into the towers and stop Team Rocket and face trainers. You remember the tower?
Yes.
I think it's the first time you see like Haunter and Gengar.
Yeah.
That's why you're there, to stop Team Rocket from stealing skulls of Cubones.
That have died.
Terrible.
Oh, my God.
Terrible.
I remember, like, obviously I remember the music and everything, like scariness level, like, and for me, it's like a 6 or a 7. The only reason is because I was like 9 or 10 when I started playing this. Like, the theme of it is like really, really dark.
Yeah, it's dark. And not only Lavender Town, but there's a lot of things in Pokemon and the old one that's kind of messed up.
Yep.
The caves by itself, you're a 10-year-old trainer.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, go into this cave.
This dark cave.
Good luck
Yeah.
with a bunch of Geodudes and who like gravelers just rolling around in there like, yeah, don't die.
Hopefully you don't get crushed.
Yeah. The whole thing is just weird. So you're giving it a 7 or a 6?
I'm going to say 7. Just because the dark theme.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay.
Mainly just, I mean, we were supposed to rate this beforehand, but whatever. Mine's not changing. I just wanted to relive Lavender Town. I don't think I can play the music during the video because, YouTube copyright banhammer will come and crush our channel into
And we don't need to get shadow banned.
Yeah, because that banhammer is forged from 1,000 dying channels. I don't know if you knew that, but we don't want to be 1,001.
Yeah, you're right.
So, okay, so you're giving it you said 6?
I'm going to give it a 7.
A 7? Okay, I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay, fair.
So that works. And then, so our next game, Fallout 3.
All right, listen, I got to take like a 9.
Okay, you're at a 9. I was at an 8.
Okay,
So,
And for you that don't know, it's Fallout 3. And for me, like playing this game, there was moments where it's like, why do I feel like I'm going to go in a cardiac arrest from playing this game? Or, I don't have enough stamina to make my Pip-Boy go off to where I can hit my shots to kill this Deathclaw that's going to literally rip my face off.
Yeah, the Deathclaws, man. They were, the first time you see one in game, they're huge.
Yes.
They're mutated. They don't look right.
Yep.
They're like, literally, their name, Deathclaws. Like, this should not be in this type of game.
Yeah.
I mean, some people can make the argument that this is a horror, scary-based genre type of game, but it's not. It's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, that's how I've always seen Fallout, is post-apocalyptic, survival.
RPG.
Yeah, yep.
But I think the worst part of this game was when you first exit, I think it's Vault 101 is where you do the intro and then you come out. When you first go into the metro tunnels, the old subway system.
Yes.
And the little mutated zombie folks are down there.
Yep.
And it's pitch black. You might have one light at the end of the tunnel, and you just hear these things screaming all over the place. And then you hear footsteps.
Like charging at you.
Can't see anything.
Yep.
And then you turn around, and it's right on you.
Yep. I don't know how many moments you had, because I wasn't a PC player at this point. I was playing Fallout 3 on my PlayStation, but I can't tell you how many times playing this game, I would rip my headphones off and throw them to the floor just because it startled me so much.
Yeah, it was horrific. I was like, this should not be a part of this whatsoever. The post-apocalyptic, I get it, but y'all just gave me cardiac arrest, and I'm 11 years old. Not only that, but the like if you would go in certain vaults, like the other, like Vault 103, 104, the super mutants. You remember those guys? The huge,
where you would be in a room and you would hear them like boom, boom, but like you would hear the steps in the other room, and you're like, all right, well, I've cornered myself trying to loot. and there's no way out of this place, and I can hear these steps. And then you literally just pan to the left or the right, and you look in the doorway, and it's this bluish green creature just literally standing. And
just
you're like,
Ronnie Coleman sized mutant with a machine gun.
Yep. And then you hear the that classic like wind up of the machine gun, and you're like, well, here I go.
Plus, and the soundtrack for Fallout 3 was by itself amazing. It was great, but it also added to the like eeriness.
The sense of terror and
the
stuff.
1950s old radio music.
Yep.
It just added to the, I shouldn't be here right now. Like this song's playing and he's...
Or like when the vault door would close, like when you would go into another vault, the door would close and the music would change.
Yeah.
And you're like, uh-oh, like this is not good.
And then another weird thing was when you would be in either these abandoned buildings or the metro tunnels, you would turn a corner and there'd be the robots, the old school, like retro art robots.
I always thought of like the robots that what were those things that would come and find you? And it was almost like Star Wars, the ones, the Medbots?
Yeah.
But in Fallout, they're evil. And they shoot lasers and rip your head off unless you can, you have the hacking, whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But
like, those are bad. I'm just talking about the dopey ones that just walked around and was like trying to serve you a drink. Yeah. Those creep me out more than the little floaters, because at least with the floaters, I know what they want. Like they just want to take me out.
Yeah.
That's cool. The little dopey droids, I'm like, I don't trust you one bit, sir. Yeah. I don't know what you're up to. I can see it in your little eyes. But yeah, this fits perfectly in this list for me, just because it's like, it's not supposed to be scary, but a lot of elements were just terrifying about it.
Terrifying. Fallout 3 to me was terrifying.
And then so for our next game, I don't know if you'll recognize this, but this is World of Warcraft. This is a map. And this is not really specific in World of Warcraft because there's a lot of elements in WoW that are terrifying, but I picked this one specifically. This is Duskwood. Do you remember Duskwood?
I don't.
Do you remember Stitches? Does that ring?
Yes.
The giant A-bomb
walking
around.
Yeah.
So Duskwood, which I think is pretty much when anybody thinks about WoW and creepy, they think of Duskwood first, especially Alliance players. Because you could be up here in Elwyn Forest or the surrounding areas in Stranglethorn, and it could be all bright and sunny. The birds are chirping, the warthogs are running. Mm-hmm. As soon as you cross this threshold right here into Duskwood, it just goes dark. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is.
Yeah.
The torches are lit. It gets dark. You see ghosts. There's werewolves.
Yes,
spiders.
I do. Yep.
Everywhere in here is dark at all times. It doesn't matter. That right alone should just be terrifying.
All right.
But then if you make it into town, if you make it into Darkshire, you best prayed Stitches wasn't on his way to rope your level 22 ass, because that's probably what's going to happen. It just or like back in vanilla when there was no like.
Can you imagine this though, but with hardcore now?
Oh, I wouldn't even attempt because I already know. Just from the creatures alone, at least back in vanilla,
right?
The mobs are so densely populated, especially in Ravenhill, where all the zombie type creatures were. They're so densely populated. If you pull one, you're pulling at least another one, if not two more.
Well, see, I can remember going here and having to fight off the werewolves, and they kept spawning. But I don't remember like level of like terror.
You don't remember any terror? I remember plenty.
Well, no, because you don't spawn here, but you spawn close to here if you pick is it a Warren? Waven?
Oh, you're talking about a Worgen? Oh, in the newer... In the newer... Okay,
see, that's what I have to call on. I don't have vanilla.
Yeah, I forgot. You don't have the OG experience. But
yeah.
I mean, you could if you went back and played
right
Classic right now, but it's not worth it.
Yeah.
If you ask me today, like, should I go, like, try to get my 8 levels here? I'm like, no, skip it. Save yourself a million headaches and just keep on walking. Like, just go kill boars for 10 levels somewhere else. Honestly, it's better to just go walk into Orgrimmar and just let him kill you, because it's the same thing. That's how I feel. But I mean,
gotcha.
Duskwood is not the only like creepy place in WoW. You have Deadwind Pass.
Yes.
And Deadwind Pass wasn't necessarily like deadly. It was just a very creepy feeling walking through here because the mountains arched together and it made a narrow
Yes.
roadway, and it was very dark and gloomy. Is kind of foggy. I mean, it didn't really have fog animation back then in 2004, but just the overall just feeling while you're there was horrific. And one of the newest zones that I think really like did this some justice on the holy crap, this is kind of creepy, is Drusfar from BFA.
Yes. I would agree.
It's a great zone, art-wise and feeling-wise, is a great zone. But the main thing about Deadwind Pass and Drusfar is when you're playing alone. That's really where the creepiness comes in, because you're surrounded by enemies, not only NPCs, but the opposing faction. And then you're surrounded by just this eerie feeling of kind of, especially in Drusfar, it's like witches and goblins and kind
something's around every corner.
Black magic. Yeah, it's a great zone. So for me, I would put WoW at in certain circumstances, I put it at like a 7.
Oh, really? I would, if we're going overall WoW as far as like terror, I would say mine is like panic inducing because I'll be like on the edge of something or trying to figure something out. And then it's like, all right, well, like when I was mountain hunting, all right, or like the Blood Moon Fair, that is probably like my most terrifying moments where it's like.
Are you talking about Dark Moon?
Dark Moon Fair.
Dark Moon Fair.
Blood Moon Fair. Dark Moon Fair, yeah, where it was like these like enemies and stuff, and I'm like, it's like those frantic moments where I'm like, can I get in my mount quick enough to like move and like have enough speed? So for me, I'm gonna say like overall WoW, it's like a 6 for me. Yeah,
like a 6.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say like a 2 or a 3, just because you have less time in it. But yeah, just Deadwind Pass by itself, it was just creepy. Nothing's even going on there. It's just you're like, I don't belong.
Yeah, I
here.
shouldn't be here.
Like you're 10 levels over what you're supposed to be, because I would ignore that zone and be like, all right, let me go off track and level up just in case, just a little higher, and then I'll come back.
Right.
And so for the last game that we have,
okay,
I thought you would appreciate this. We have Minecraft.
Oh, listen. Okay, and I know I've been looking at Tyler, but I need to look at whoever's going to listen to this. Whoever in the last year has updated this game, thank you for literally making me want to take my mouse and throw it through my sheetrock.
Okay.
Because of how hard and or creepy you've made the game. So I used to, for hours, I would literally, kid you not, turn on Spotify, and we would like have like a job board, and we would like, we need somebody to mine or collect resource or whatever, right? The game makes noises now that you like wouldn't expect. Like, so I was like deep in the mines, and there's this mob, a boss called the Warden. It looks like a giant axolotl. I may have told you this already, but whatever. The mines, like they're trying to mimic like deep earth and like earth like creaking. So like you'll be out of nowhere, and it's like out of nowhere, and you're like in the middle of the mines by yourself, and I'm like, what? And I'll like literally I'll be playing like mining, and I'll stop and like look around. It's like, what was that? And you like go back to it, and something else makes the sound. Or the spawn rate of mobs is quicker now. And so, like, if you're not putting down torches, which I forget to do while I'm tunneling, I'll just have, like, out of nowhere, I'll just hear a mob or I'll hear a witch. And I'm like, what just happened? And then I'm, like, in this terror-induced situation.
Yeah. So I only have the OG Minecraft to go off because that's the only one I played.
Right.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
But I remember delving like deep into the caves back in the day. And I'm going to go download the original game and go check the program files tonight. But I swear, deep embedded in the cave file somewhere, they have a file called Woman Being Murdered Screams, so that it plays in that cave. Because that's what I remember, like mining, looking for diamonds or gold or whatever. And just the sounds, it's like super dark. You have one torch hanging on the wall. And you're like, oh, God, I got to hurry. I can hear the spiders coming and the creepers, whatever they're called.
You got it.
But I swear there was moans and screams. Maybe it might have been 4 a.m. I might have been on 1 hour of sleep.
Or you heard your neighbor meeting a unfaithful end.
Yeah, but no, I swear there was like screams and moans like deep in a cave like at night, and it was always terrifying. But even not in a cave, like being up on the surface
At night?
horrific.
Yes.
It was horrific. Like you were generally like you were actually scared to be walking around at night unprotected. Like if all you had was your little wooden sword.
Yeah.
It was not. It was a stressful environment, especially if you're like me and you're not good at like putting together your resources to get stuff
like resource
done.
management.
Yeah, if your resource manager is terrible and I don't have a house, a bed, nothing, I'm just kind of out here winging it. Terrible experience because it is like adrenaline inducing.
It's like, yeah,
fear.
Yes, like I don't know how, like, it's really hard, like, because I'm trying to think back to like vanilla. I can remember when they introduced like survival and like, hey, you have to eat or your hearts go away or whatever, right? Now that's just a part of the game, or creative mode was the other. But there was these, like, I can remember playing my first creative game and it's literally holding a torch and I'm looking around and it's just trees and then you can like hear them coming for you.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, all right.
So with that, I'm giving it a 9.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a 9 too. I'm a 9 or a 10. No, I will. This will be, and haters gonna hate my moments that I've had in this game, and like freak out moments and running and screaming and hoping that I'm hitting the right keys. I'm gonna give it a 10.
Okay.
Yep.
So 10 and 9, and I agree with you on that one. When I was putting together this list, that's all I could remember was fear from playing this game.
Yeah.
Like all the other ones, I could, like, you get a little break.
Yeah.
But this happened quick.
Yep.
Like it was day, you're like, okay, I'm cool. Just got to worry about some spiders and, some villagers are kind of creepy. But as soon as night turned, like it was
like
terrifying.
literally the game flipped over on
it was
itself.
a completely different game.
Yeah.
Like you're just on Nightmare on Elm Street, just trying to survive.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm giving it a 9, and that's easily the winner. Like I don't even have to tally up the scores. So
yeah, that's
Minecraft is our 2023 not scary game of this year.
Absolutely.
And for a game that's so low resolution, like super, like Mario 64
Yes.
had better graphics than this game.
Yep.
Little 8-bit blocks should not be like causing me nightmares when I'm 17 years old.
I can hear the creepers still coming up on us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I will say the one thing for this, like obviously this list is mine and Tyler's, but one thing, like we always ask for, like you guys like ask questions and stuff, and this is my moment to like ask, but like give us a suggestion like of a game where you're like, yo, this was the game that was not supposed to be terrifying but is terrifying. Please play it and let's see what our impressions are. We would love that.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, also I probably had about 20 games on this list.
I remember
I shaved it down just because it is Monday and we got work.
Yeah.
Fortunately, but a lot of the games I wanted to put on here were like also terrifying. Like Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. Yes.
Terrifying game.
Yes.
And it's Batman.
And like the twist in the story, and you're like, okay, like it was like Red Hood in a way. If I'm thinking right, that's Arkham Asylum.
I remember the morgue.
Yep.
In the Scarecrow section.
Yes.
Yes. What acid trip were those developers on where they thought that was a good idea?
Hey guys, I got an idea. We're gonna take mushrooms and build this game.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Another one was Subnautica. Did you ever play that?
Never played it.
It was an underwater explorer. Echo the Dolphin. Did you ever play that?
No.
That one 2D scroller is also terrifying. Yeah. And you played as a dolphin.
Sorry guys, I'm picking him up. Yes, you play as a dolphin.
Yeah. But it was legitimately terrifying. I mean, pretty much anything that happens in the sea is scary. So
yeah.
There's other ones.
What was there was a newer game where it was like you're a little boat that like pulls things out of the ocean, and it's like super. Everybody, I just remember seeing it on TikTok where it was like you're this little like dredge. It's dredge is called the game or the name of the game. But you literally like you're just a small boat and you're driving and you're like dredging things out and pulling things out of the water, and then the water's like light blue and then it turns like this dark like ominous black. And you're like, and the music changes, and you're like, oh, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, like with that, I feel like anything with the water or the sea, you can easily make into a horror game if you 100%. Want to. Another one I had was Ravenholm from Half-Life 2. That was a terrifying level.
Never played that one.
You never played Half-Life 2?
I probably did, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like we're going back years. But that one was. The whole game, you just hear from all the other NPCs, they're like, stay away from Ravenholm. Stay away from Ravenholm. And then eventually you're like, oh, well, you're going to Ravenholm. And you're like, okay, well, they told us.
Hey, they said don't do that.
Jeremy said not to go, like literally 2 cutscenes ago. And it was just, if I remember correctly, it's just this overrun town of face huggers and zombies. And it's just, but the mood is super, super dark. And just ominous, and it's just like you get that instant feeling like I don't want to be here. Turn off the Xbox like really quick. What's another like Red Dead Redemption 2 has some creepy moments in it.
Red Dead 2, yes, I will say I was just trying to think back. There was like some odd moments in all of that I'm just like, what happened?
The vampire.
Yes,
you meet like a vampire, like a legit one in the game, and he's like an old school like Nosferatu looking
yes
cripple dude, and it's just
in that mission. That mission line was the weirdest mission line ever. So
and then what was it? It was like the inbred hillbillies or something.
That one was
cannibals or whatever. It was
cannibals, and it was crazy because I remember having to like you have to get up on this house and like take them out. I remember that one.
Yeah, those are just creepy. Like seeing them walk with their corpses or I don't know if they were horses or something, but.
That was
eerie.
The same or not same episode, but the same quest line that ends up in the Man Bear Pig, where basically like you go into the you like basically turn into their shed, or not their shed but their barn, and once you're into the barn, it's literally this giant bear that they've taken everything out of, and they've like stitched man arms and a pig head, and you're like in the game, and you're like, I just signed up for a Western, and I want to literally either be a hero or rob trains. Like, I didn't sign up for this. So.
If I want to fight vampires, I'd go to Witcher 3. Because that was another one I wanted to put on the list, because that legit had some creepy...
Yes, Witcher 3, the Griffin scenes, or not the Griffin scenes, but it's like you had just eradicated whatever, and it's like this... Anytime in The Witcher 3, when something was swooping down on you, I'm like, well, it has hit the fan.
The Griffins is a good one because they looked unnatural. Like when you usually see a Griffin in like lore, like mythology,
you're
anything,
like, they're that's like nice super, on a shield.
Yeah, they're super noble and like majestic, has some grace. These are like mutated like freaks, like don't look like.
And I think Witcher does a good job of that, of like. All of the things where you're like, man, that would be awesome. And they're like, oh, yeah? Well, hold my beer.
And then don't forget about the, like, aborted fetuses, baby creatures.
Yes.
You remember those?
Yes.
Terrifying. Those things
the
are
worst.
Terrifying. They had a whole, I think in the show, in the first season, they had an
episode of it.
Dedicated to it.
Yeah.
She's, like, in the crypt.
Yep.
Yeah. And
they have to put her back in the crypt, and she's like, yep.
Yeah. That a great episode, but I think the more creepy thing was the statues. You remember the statues, the like marble statues. They don't do anything to you, but they like follow you around.
Yeah,
I think.
And you have to look at them, and they'll stop moving.
Yeah,
and then if not, they keep following you.
Do they like
when you look away? You or anything? I don't remember that because I think you solve like quote unquote the puzzle before, but I had an amazing time like with that because I don't know I don't know, and I'm going to ask you if you feel this way. Do you like the moments where the games put you in a little bit of like this terror-inducing like franticness? Like you're like, yes, you got to solve this puzzle, but now if you don't solve this puzzle in a minute, you're going to be eaten alive or whatever.
You know what? 2 games are really good at doing that.
What?
To answer your question, yes.
Okay.
I do I feel like fear is good for the heart. If
Yeah.
you're not getting a little dose of fear every now and then, it's
What are you
not
doing?
going to live long. Metroid Fusion and Metroid Dread.
Yeah.
They have, because you'll enter a room, and even though it's a 2D scroller, you'll enter a room and the music will completely switch. The lights will start flashing, and you're getting followed by something you're not supposed to be getting followed by, and you got to run and like hide. I think that's Dread or Fusion, one of the two. Because if it catches you, you can't do anything about it. And it's terror inducing when you enter a room, like you're like, oh, I just got some missiles, cool, I got full health, all right, I got my super jump. Enter this room, and your mood completely 180s.
Yeah.
And
it
that
takes
music
everything
starts
from
playing.
you.
Yeah, and it's terrifying. And even so, the first time it's not as bad because you don't know what to expect. It's just like creepy. But like the third or fourth time it happens in the game, you know now, and you're like, oh crap, I better run.
And, one thing that I've been thinking about with all of this is one of my games that I told you was on my list of like top tier games that I'm excited about was the Return to the Mines of Moria, which is the the dwarven mining game, like base building game.
Yeah.
A couple of people that I've seen on there have said that, that is actually it's like there's some scary moments in the game that like you're getting attacked by orcs and you're at the heart of the mine and you got to figure it out. I'm like, I want that.
I believe it. I mean, if they go off the source material, they got plenty to scare you with, because you remember when when Gimli and like Gandalf and Frodo were all making their journey to the mines.
Yeah.
And Gimli's all excited. Yeah, I haven't seen my cousins in years. Like, we're going to have feasts like you never imagined, riches beyond your wildest like dreams. And they walk in and everybody's dead.
Yeah, everybody at the table.
And it's creepy, quiet. And they're walking around, and I think it was Pippin, of course, and he knocks over the skeleton into the well, and then it wakes up all the were they orcs or I think they're goblins, and they all start running, and you hear the drums. So that game has plenty to work off of. If they want to make it terrifying, they easily can.
Man, I remember that. God,
I'm putting a clip in it in this video.
Please.
I mean, I got them saved somewhere in a folder.
Hopefully, can we do that? And okay.
As long as there's no music, I think we're good.
Well, hopefully you guys get to see that goblin scene, because that was terrifying. So,
yeah, it was the first time in the movie, at least for me,
where you felt terror.
It was like real, like, oh crap.
Like we may not make it out of the, like, in anytime like they've been in the mines and everything else, and I know we're kind of, this is all talking about Return to the Mines of Moria game, and I hope this moment is in there because it's actually years after the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But because Gimli is calling for all of the dwarves to return to the mines and make the empire what it once was. Anyways, that gives you a little bit of the back of the game.
Well, that'd be cool if they started off the game like, oh, you got to go reclaim the mine.
That's what you do.
Okay.
Like, that's the whole thing.
All right, cool. And yeah.
Shocker.
We're good. But I don't know. Hopefully there's only that one Balrog in there, because I don't see them going after that.
When I think there's like the heart of the mine and there's some other stuff like the jewel. I forget what the jewel's called, but some other stuff in there. But I'm interested. Anyways,
Heart of the Mountain. Is that what
the
it's
heart
called?
of the mountain. There you go. But I'm interested to see what's gonna happen with the game. But
no, and I hope you play it and then give me your login, and then I'll play it for free.
I think I can do that. Make that happen.
But no, I think there's with, like, take games like Oblivion or Fallout 3, World of Warcraft, even Mass Effect to a certain extent, any like open world RPGs, when you're alone out in the world, like playing, if you're not with a party or a friend, anything can be terrifying. Like, it can turn into a horror game really quickly, because you're out in this massive world alone with no help. It's just you. You have to constantly watch your six.
Yep.
Check the shadows, make sure, nothing's coming to get you. Or if you do end up in a fight, you got to make sure you survive and you got the means to heal yourself. And and make it back to the next town or civilization, whatever you're trying to go to. So I think a lot of those games, even though they're not trying to add any scary moments like intentionally,
Yeah.
like just those types of games by themselves, I feel like does have that small, always just presence of fear going on.
And it's like, I think that obviously it's a good story driving portion too, because it can push you through zones and stuff like that. And or like where would be a lull in the story, like it helps you like accelerate through and stuff, so on. So I'm trying to, man. Now you got my brain thinking about all this of like what other games are like this. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm interested to. We'll probably. It'd be cool, and I'm sure people are curious to like piece out the list and just talk about it on our like future episodes, and just
Yeah.
to kind
Just
of.
because Halloween's over doesn't mean we can't be scary.
There we go.
Because like, so if you take games like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, for instance, I mean, you go into those games expecting
Terror.
terror, even if you like haven't played it. If you just look at the the cover art in
You're like,
the back of the
yeah,
box, you're like, okay, there's some messed up things going on in here, and
yeah,
like right off the bat in the intro, you're already introduced to just messed up creatures. So you already start with that sense of like, okay, I'm supposed to be scared. So it kind of takes the edge off.
yeah.
You're just like, all right, I'm over it. Just run through the tunnel, whatever. But in like say WoW and like Dead of Wind Pass, you don't
Yeah.
expect it because you're coming from, the Emerald Dream, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is amazing. And then
Yeah.
you're like, oh,
This is not.
what is this? Or you
Yeah.
go into like what's another one? You go into the Outlands and you're like, there's color here, but it's super saturated contrast demons, and I don't enjoy what's happening because I'm all alone and there's an army.
Yeah, that was the moment that where I was like, this is not what I signed up for. Like,
Yeah,
or like, how are we gonna solve this problem?
yeah. You could say the same thing about Halo 3 when you first
Yes.
get introduced to the flood.
Yep.
Like, where I wasn't expecting that when it
No.
first happened.
It did that actually. The flood actually like changed my view on a lot of things, like about
Oh,
like
yeah.
and thinking about like on the story and everything. And I'm like, you know, there's this moments in stories, and it's two sided. And I know we always talk about developers, but like I get it. Like they have to rely on source material, so 1 and 2, but then they also have to propel the story forward. But then like one choice they can make in a game kind of has different implications on the story of the last games that you've played.
Yeah.
Or it's like the whole time you've been a secret agent, or what I'm saying, like that kind of stuff where it changes your view of where you've been from
Hmm.
or what you've seen. It's like no Russian in Call of Duty or Modern Warfare 2 original. Do you remember this scene?
No.
Um, and
Is that
if
the
we
one where Ghost dies or
no
something?
no
Or
no
is that-
no, this is when you get to the airport
Oh, is
and
that the start?
no, maybe is no Russian is the start, but um, you get into the game or like you get to the airport and you realize like, oh, you've got to play as the terrorist.
Okay. You start in like the elevator or
yes,
something,
yes.
right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you realize you've got to make a very difficult decision. And there's a lot of stuff and neither here nor there, but the like that choice in that game, I'm like, oh, there's different levels to all of this. So
I mean, Modern Warfare is another good one. The Chernobyl like sniper scene.
yeah, yes.
Where you got to sneak that,
Yes.
and you have the soldiers like walking right by you.
Oh, like literally right on the footpath, like
Yeah.
next to you. And you have to stop in the little culvert and you're just like, it's funny, like even at that point, it was like, I was even watching how I was breathing.
Yeah,
You know what I
in
mean?
real
Like,
life, you're like,
yeah.
your mom starts knocking on the door, like you're gonna get me shot.
Yeah.
You
No,
better
it's not
stop.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woman, I'm telling you, you better stop. But yeah, that's another good example. And
Yeah.
even what was it, the Mile High Club? Not fear inducing in the normal way, just the sense of overall pressure to perform,
Yeah.
on veteran. It's like, oh God.
Yeah.
All your senses are focused on this one thing.
You start to realize where everything is and
Yeah.
everything.
It's like, it's just 9 seconds, but it's a terrifying 9 seconds.
yeah.
Another one I'm thinking of is, did you play a lot of the Metal Gear Solid games?
Yes. Where you're in the cardboard box.
Yeah.
Like, those cardboard box missions were like literally the hardest.
Yeah, that and just a lot of the rooms in
Did you
hallways.
ever play Splinter Cell?
Yeah.
Splinter Cell, the noise ones, where you literally would be like up in the rafters and you'd have to crawl a little bit, and then they'd be walking under you, and you'd go to move and you'd make a creak, and then they're like that. I just remember the sound bar on the side, and it just like shoots to the top in red, and you're like, oh no, like
Yeah.
nothing good is gonna come out of this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like Metal Gear Solid, like it had just some of the rooms by themselves. It's like and they had like long hallways in the doors, where it's just like either just dead soldiers or like people had been like tortured. And nothing happens in these hallways, but you got to walk by them, and it's unsettling.
Yeah.
Whereas a game like Fear, do you remember Fear?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you start off that game like the intro trailer for it lets you know like, hey, this is a creepy game, prepared to be scared.
Yeah.
And that little girl, that little ring girl,
Oh.
basically she's just walking down the hallway.
There's moments in that game where I'm like, why?
Yeah, but with Metal Gear, I was like, this is just a
Yeah.
a badass fighter slash shooter, like sneak rogue mission, when a lot of it was like, oh no, this is teaching me about life that school never did.
Yeah, I'll agree. Well, um, not to segue down, but because we are going to crank this out early and so on and so forth. But I didn't know if you had any like closing remarks or anything, because if you guys haven't heard, my doggos are kind of getting crunk in the club.
Gotta take them outside.
Yeah.
No, just a big happy Halloween to all of our viewers, and
Yes.
hit that subscribe button and like if you want to see more. Even if you don't want to see more, we will make less if you subscribe.
Yeah.
If you want,
Yeah.
just let us know.
Hit the subscribe button. Let us know about the angle too. I actually like this angle a little bit better. I catch myself looking at you while we're talking, but
Yeah.
it's something we can work through and like get better at as we like get used to this new camera angle. But we appreciate you guys, and I will let him close it out. But it's always been fun talking to you guys and getting to relive my gaming past.
Just have a good Halloween. Don't take candy from strangers unless you're trick or treating. But if you're 30, people probably aren't going to give you candy. Trust me.
Yeah.
I've asked already.
We've already tried. See you on the next one, guys.